Hello there, my name's Tracy Elsom and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in Canada. A couple of weeks ago I was going to show you how I go about making a fold over box. Unfortunately, the sweets that I had put aside to make the box with had been, well, should we just say my husband took a liking to them. So I couldn't do that week, so I'm going to do it this week for you instead. What I have are these little chocolates. They're Moritz Icy Squares, and I want to make a box that will fit 6 of them. So I thought I would show you how I go about just making up the box, how I go about thinking about what sizes I need, that kind of thing. So I'll start by just placing the chocolates just here on my grid paper. I'm not going to go right up to the line because obviously I need a little bit of room to be able to get the chocolates in and out of the box. So looking at this, it looks like my base of my box, if I show you this diagram here, it doesn't have to be right, it's going to be 2.5 inches that way. And it needs to be about 3 3/4 inches that way. So that's the base. So providing I've got that as the main part of my box, the chocolate should fit. Now I need to think about how high the box needs to be. And if I place that just on there, it looks like it's about 1/2 inch. So let's go with 1/2 inch. So for this particular box, I want to make it a fold over box so that you have a tray at the bottom and the lid just comes over the top. So I need a bottom, I'll need a top the same size, and then I'll need the sides, and each of those sides needs to be 1/2 inch, which is the height of the chocolate. So that's how long my piece of paper, my piece of card needs to be. Now obviously I've got the sides of the box, so that's this piece, I've got the top, I've got that piece, I've got the bottom, and I've got the other part of the tray. But I need to have pieces on the side as well. So that means that I need to do another piece up there, and it has to be the same size as this side here. So that's going to be 1/2 inch wide from there to there, and I need one on the other side, 1/2 inch. So that gives me my dimensions for the box to fit this. So it is 3 3/4, 1/2 inch plus 3 3/4 plus 1/2 inch. So that equals 4 3/4 of an inch for that side. Now along here I have 1/2 and 2.5 plus another 1/2 plus another 2.5 plus another 1/2. So that's 1/2, 3, 3.5, 6.5. So that's one, that's the other. So my piece needs to be 4 3/4 by 6.5 inches. So that's basically how I would work it out. And all I would do is cut that piece of paper and then score the lines. So let's do that. Bring in my stamping trimmer, so I'm going to start by cutting my card to the right size. Six and a half inches. By 4 3/4 inches. Now I need to do my scored line. So the first one is at 1/2 inch, I'm going to do it this way round because it means that I can then leave this sitting on the bed of the trimmer rather than having it hanging off while I'm trying to do that. So there's my first one, 1/2 inch. Now the next one is 2.5 inches further on, so I can put that scored line on 2.5 inches and score. Then the next one is 1/2 inch further on and score, and then 2.5 inches further on and score. So that's the long side. I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to do these score lines now, and they're quite simple. They're both at 1/2 inch on one edge. So we'll do a 1/2 inch there like that, turn it all the way round and do another 1/2 inch like that. So there's my piece of card. You can just see the scored lines there. So now all I need to do is to cut this, and you're just going to make the cuts along the long side. So basically you're going to take each scored line and you're just going to cut up to that first horizontal line. I'm going to notch in just a little bit on the squares just to make it easier when I'm pulling it together. Make a little bit off there and turn it round and do exactly the same thing on the other side. And the last one. Okay, so that's the piece, and there it's with all the trims and cut. So now I'm just going to fold it along the scored lines and sharpen those creases with the bone folder. It makes it a lot easier to get the box to fit together. So there it is, that's all ready and done. Now I need is some fast fuse, and we're just going to put a little fuse, if I can get it to work. There we go. Just a little bit of fuse on each tab. So now all you do, I get a bit more fuse on there, I think. There we go. Right, so basically you're just going to tuck the tab in and stick it to the side like that. And do the other one. Tuck the tab in and stick it to the side. Now you take the next tab and you're going to stick it to the other end of that same piece. And do the middle one like that. Okay, so now you have your tray, and that's going to be the bottom of the box. Now before you finish putting the rest of it together, I'm going to turn mine over. I've got a little 3/4 inch punch here, and I'm just going to nick a little piece out just to help me open the box when it's closed, because there's nothing worse than having chocolate in a box that you can't get into. So now I'm just going to go round and I'm going to attach those last 2 tabs to that side, and there is the box. And to close it, you just simply fold that piece over the top. Now you can sometimes find these bits gape, so what I tend to do is before I actually fill it and close it, just give them a little push just to make sure they're really well folded. So let's see the moment of truth. Let's see if we can get these in, get them to fit. go. Like that. And there is the box. Nice and tight. Just a little bit of wiggle room, and that's fine. Okay, so now we need to make a top for the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top, which is 2.5 by 3 3/4, and I'm just going to cut a piece of Whisper White card, 1/4 inch smaller on both sides. So instead of 3 3/4, I need 3.5, and instead of 2.5, I need 2.25. So there is my piece of Whisper White. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some Pool Party ink, I think, to start with. And these are little snowflake images from the Colourful Seasons stamp set. And this is Tempting Turquoise. That was Pool Party. This is Tempting Turquoise. There we go. And we have a few snowflakes. They are icy squares after all. Okay, so that's that piece. We'll just use a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue. It wants to come out. The edge, there we go, and we'll just slide that on there like that. That's that. Now let's take some Whisper White twine, and I'm just going to tie, using my secret weapon, I'm going to tie a little tiny bow, just using this little gadget that I found in the UK. It's made by Doughcraft. I haven't seen it in Canada, unfortunately, but it's my little marvel. It helps me tie tiny bows even with my dodgy hands. So there we go. So there's my teeny tiny bow. Okay, so for the sentiment, I'm going to use the Tempting Turquoise again. And I have a little piece of Whisper White card here. And this just says for you. There we go, and I will cut that out with a 1.25 inch circle punch. And then I will take a piece of silver glimmer paper. This is the 1 3/8 circle punch. And then finally a bit of that offcut of Pool Party card, and that's the 1.5 inch circle punch. So all I need to do now is to use a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals to attach everything together. So we'll start with sentiment on the glimmer paper. Let's put that onto that. Mini glue dot for the little bow. And I need to roll it over and fold it in half because it's only a tiny bow. So I can get to it. Don't want to let go. Do it this way. Let's make it easy. There we are. So there's my little white bow. Stick that on there. Trim it up. And then finally I'm just going to use a little bit of Tombow glue to attach that to that. And there we are. There's a little box, absolutely perfect size for the items that I wanted to put in it. I'll make sure that I have this diagram a little bit clearer on my blog as well. So there we are. I hope you've had fun with that, and I hope it encourages you to make your own little boxes to put your treats in this coming season. Thanks very much. Bye.